That's so cute. I love that. I love that my earring fell off.
I love it. We're back, everybody.
We're back.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm putting my earring in. I
Welcome.
want to look nice for you all. Isn't
You
our
like
guy
that music so
cute?
much, you wanted to
I
throw
love
your
my earring. I was
earring
like
up.
dancing. I was dancing too hard. My little delicate earrings came out. That's so funny.
You know,
Hi,
we've always
everyone.
hi everyone. We always said that we were going to get some music to start us off, so I thought I would try something
I
today. But
love
I feel
it.
like there's a little bit more work we could do,
Yeah.
in that. But let's quickly start with introductions for those of you who are brand new to our AI Educator Brain webinar of chaos. My name is Kelly Booth, and I am the proud director of the AFT Share My Lesson, and my partner in crime is.
I'm Sari Beth Rosenberg. I am a full-time high school history teacher here in New York City. Shout out to all my New Yorkers in the chat. And I'm also the co-creator of AI Educator Brain. So it's so exciting to be here.
Hey, not only that, but you know what's exciting about today?
What's exciting about today?
That this is also, we are one of the official partners for Hour of AI, which used to be Hour of Code from code.org, trying to get people into STEM, but we are officially part of the Hour of Code family. And you can find a lot more information on the hourofcode.org website. There's lots of different AI related, I'm sorry, not Hour of Code, Hour of AI. I'm still so used to saying Hour of Code. Hourofai.org. There's a lot of different content that's happening this week and really throughout the year. So, where Sari Beth and I tend to be more on the educator focus, there's a lot of other stuff that's going to be more student focused. And so, take advantage of that, because all that stuff will also be on demand as well. And we're honored to be partners with our friends from Hour of AI. Thank you.
Thank you, Hour of AI.
So that's exciting. Okay, so I just realized I didn't change the title up here. This is the title from last week, but I do feel like this is our part 2. We're still focused on the critical thinking, but this time we're looking more on output to insight. But today, our plan is to do our regular welcome, do our fun new AI educator news update. We've got a lot of creepy or cool AI options that we'll share throughout, and then really dive into that AI and critical thinking. And I really love last one's webinar, Sari Beth, but I feel like our plan for today is even more fun. And so we always talk about how we want this to be something you could use in the classroom tomorrow. Well, literally, I think that's your plan today.
Yeah, you all are along for the ride. So I have a lesson coming up on Thursday, and we're all our great brains are gonna come together, and we're gonna figure this one out together.
Yes.
And I'll tell you how it goes next time.
So I'm going to go ahead and, just as we're getting started, just push our first poll question for the night, because again, we're really going to get into, what is critical thinking, even just beyond AI. Critical thinking's been around a lot longer than AI has been around. And I know you're a teacher, and I'm a civic education background and used to do a lot of debates and conversations with students, trying to get them to see lots of sides of issues, and evaluate a lot of sources. So we got our first poll question up. Sari Beth, like, when you think about critical thinking, how do you address it with your students? And I will say, as you're responding for Sari Beth, for everybody in the audience, we like to have this interactive. So, submit your response, but also use that attendee chat box, and also we'd rather also see your, written responses as well.
Yeah, we want to make a community in here. So keep the community on. I mean, honestly, critical thinking is like my number one goal as a teacher. And I think most teachers in this chat would agree. The content is only interesting and important and impactful if you are looking at it through a critical thinking lens, right? I mean, whether you're teaching ELA, social studies like myself, math, you can select all. Yeah. So I mean, you should have said select. I thought yes, select all. No, but it really is everything. It's the backbone. Actually, not to ramble too much, but I'm going to just say that I was at a party this weekend with people who aren't educators. A couple of them were. And one person was asking me about, what do I say to students about the fact that we keep repeating history. What's the point of learning it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's exactly why we need to be learning it, right? Because we
Right.
haven't learned it. And that's a really interesting way to approach teaching history, right? It's not just memorize this led to the Civil War, this led to the American Revolution, this led to this. It's why did this happen? How do we see examples of it today? Why does it continue to happen? And that's what makes history interesting. Even starting a lesson by saying, we keep repeating history. Why do we keep studying it then? If we're just going to keep repeating it, that's the lens. That's what makes it interesting.
Yes, and I'm seeing some responses in the chat box. Keep those coming up. There's a question that's popped up, so you can continue to share your thoughts in that chat box. Let us know what you think critical thinking means, and somebody needs that poll again. I'll push that one more time for those of you who are waiting for the poll, and then it should hopefully stay up on your screen because I'm going to keep moving along on this. So I also want to know just from, and I want to keep your thoughts coming because we're going to come back to this as we get into our session. But how many of you guys are brand new to the AI Educator Brain webinar series? We've been doing this for over a year and a half now, and it's been something I look forward to every single month. It's so fun.
It's really fun.
And if you had to give the 30-second overview for those who are brand new, so the people who are like, why are you not into the topic just yet? How do we normally structure this craziness?
We structure it the way I think a lot of teachers structure their classes, to be honest. When you have the doors closed and the admin's not coming in, the way you keep the way you did I say that? Sorry if my boss is here. No, just kidding. That never happens. But the way you build community is through having a structured, unstructured conversation first, right? Like if all I did was get into the lesson and then did all those steps and then finish the lesson and had no conversations with my students that are related but unrelated to the topic, we would have no community and everyone would hate my class, right? And that's one reason. Also, we just love making things fun and funny. And we also know that all of you probably taught all day or worked all day. And the last thing you want is just a stiff, boring webinar. I would say, Kelly, this is the opposite of a stiff and boring webinar. It's honestly like, you guys, if you were on the phone with us, like we were discussing today, the webinar a little while ago. And it's the same conversation. Like you are getting us, we are just authentic, real people. And we are talking, we're not performing for you. We are just ourselves. And I think that's why y'all keep coming back. Although sometimes I get a little...
There's going to be one script thing that we will do.
Yeah. And I was going to say, sometimes I get a little too comfortable because one time at the end, I hadn't eaten enough that day. And the only sustenance I had was a stick of gum. And I was kind of really enjoying that stick of gum towards the end. And one of you were like, that wasn't very professional. And I was like, you're right. But passing out would have been worse. But I did get a little too familiar. I was like, all right, these are not actual besties yet.
So basically what Sarah Beth is saying is you can give us crap as much as you want during this webinar. It's fine. We love...
drag me all day, so drag me,
The other thing that we love is we can see those emojis. So if there's, if you are liking something that we're saying or you're not liking, give us a reaction, thumbs up, heart, whatever. We see them that we're coming. So we know that there's actually humans and not AI bots listening in on this. So
we
give
like
us some
AI,
reactions as we go.
We like AI, but not as our friends.
Yeah. Okay. So we started a new segment on, so we're going to get into the critical thinking, and please keep your thoughts coming in the chat box about what you think critical thinking means, because we're also going to be relating this. Thank you for the thumbs up, whoever gave that to us. I see you. Okay. And the hearts. There we go. So we'll get into that. Keep your thoughts coming because we're going to come back to that shortly. But we started a new segment about 2 webinars ago. If you've ever seen Saturday Night Live's or SNL's Weekend Updates, we now have our own version of the Educator Brain. We are monthly. I'll call it the monthly update. But Sarah Beth, I have an opening video that you might.
Oh my God! I'm excited.
You might pee your pants.
Oh no, I don't.
The AI takes the AI takes a little bit of editing of our two photos. So I'll just put it that way.
Oh no.
Okay, here we go. Uh-huh.
Live from Share My Lesson, it's the AI Educator News Update with your hosts, Kelly Booz and Sari Beth Rosenberg. Real news, slightly exaggerated, always AI Educator approved.
I'm not frozen. You guys, someone in the chat, am I hallucinating? Did that just happen? I'm speechless.
That just happened. We might have to go back to it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And I talk a lot. I'm at a loss.
You should have seen some earlier versions. Now, in fairness, these are the type of videos I put together like moments before we go live. So there are a lot of stuff that I'm like, oh, if I had more time, maybe I'd make it a little bit better.
Awesome.
But I kind of really like the raw.
I do, and it cleans me up like that. That photo, you guys, the original photo of me for Educator Brain is not my best. I'm a little squinty. I'm a little tired. We've been in Austin for a little too long. You see me there? Everyone tell me in the chat I don't know what I look like that. We're not vain. We keep the original photos. That's so funny.
Okay, so this is our only scripted part of the AI Educator News Update. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. All right, welcome back, educators. It's that magical time of the year when robots fall over, dating apps push you to be interesting, and AI decides whether you're balding. Truly a winter wonderland.
And speaking of chaotic energy, ChatGPT just turned 3 years old. 3 years old, which means it's officially a cranky toddler with 800 million weekly active users following it around asking for snacks. It sounds like my students.
Exactly. A toddler that can do your lesson plans, but also might throw a tantrum if you ask it for fewer emojis. Honestly, relatable.
So let's get into this month's headlines. AI Educator. Okay, so this is real news, slightly exaggerated, always AI Educator approved. Wow, your dating life hinges on AI. Hinge added AI-generated convo starters to help users avoid sending the classic, hey. Teachers everywhere said, great, now make me one for replying to parent emails that start with, I have a quick question.
Yes. Okay. And so new news, Tesla robot falls. Confidence in self-driving cars increases. Tesla's Optimus robot toppled over on stage, which Tesla described as expected behavior. If that's the bar, then your Tesla self-driving car is totally on track, especially when it sees a speed bump and whispers, not today. Rest assured, this absolutely boosts everyone's unwavering confidence in self-driving technology. All right, I'm going to show this video of this robot before we go to the next one.
Oh, cool.
There's no sound for it, but
I like the colors.
It's kind of like how I feel at the end of the day.
Yeah, that matches my sign. Okay. Don't you take that tone with me. Okay, so GPT 5.1 now offers tone presets from professional to quirky. It's basically a personality vending machine. Press 4 if you want your AI to sound like it has had coffee. Press 5 if you want chaos. Finally, you can tell your AI, please respond like a human who understands boundaries. I'd love to speak with someone like that too.
Says every teacher to every parent. Oops, didn't say that out loud. Country roads, take me to the server farm. Breaking Rust climbed to #1 with Walk My Way, snagging millions of streams and confusing everyone who expected country music to be the least disrupted genre. Sources say the AI is already working on its next hit. We've got friends in low storage. See, this is why I should never sing. AI does it better for me. And let's take a listen to some of that music. What'd you say?
I was like trying to harmonize, which was really embarrassing.
Been beat down, but I don't stay low. Got mud on my jeans, still ready to go. Every scar's a story that I survived. I've been through hell, but I'm still alive. They said, slow down, boy, don't go too fast. But I ain't never been one to live in the past. I keep moving forward, never looking back, with a worn out hat and a 6-string strap.
Do I like it? You
Okay,
am I
I'm gonna
like
just for sake of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sake of time. So that really is one of the top Billboard songs, and it's completely AI generated. We're gonna.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to have a creepier, cool question about that shortly.
Yes, please.
Okay, I think this one is yours.
The future is bright and on your face. Google is releasing 2 versions of new AI glasses: audio only Gemini powered frames, inland displays for navigation and translation. Basically, glasses that whispers answers to you, coming into a classroom near you and to the confiscation bin right after. My students have those.
It's a little scary.
My students have
I still remember like
those glasses. Sorry,
Oh,
my
they have the
students
meta
have those
ones?
glasses. And they take pictures and stuff. It's really creepy.
That is creepy. That is creepy. Yeah, and I'm worried about, I mean, I remember when we had the TI-85 calculators, and, sometimes I put some math formulas on those suckers. So, every student's going to find a way. Yeah. All right. Scalp GPT, now with brutal honesty. My hair AI analyzes photos of your scalp, tracks your hair density over time, and tells you exactly what's happening up there. It does not lie to spare your feelings. It is brutally honest like a middle schooler. And really, do we need AI to tell us we're balding? Who needs a mirror anyway?
Next up. Robin, because humans needed backup. A former physician launched Robin, an empathetic AI companion that provides non-judgmental emotional support. Because sure, let's outsource empathy too. Humans had a good run. Creepy or cool. That's another big figure.
And then creepy, my favorite. Happy birthday to our smartest disaster. ChatGPT turns 3 on November 30th and now has 800 million weekly active users. Developmentally, it's right on track for being a toddler, such as having a vast vocabulary, can explain quantum physics, and absolutely melts down if you ask it to format a table. Basically, we gave the world's smartest 3-year-old access to the internet and said, you figure it out. And that, my friends, is our AI educator update, news update. And here's that song for those who want it in the chat. Okay, so I want to go back, before we jump into the critical thing, I want to go back to the AI song. I put the links if you want to listen to the entire song that's in the Billboard, it's there. But I'm curious what you guys think. Is that creepy or cool that, that it's, a song is now in the top Billboard?
Yeah, let us know in the chat.
What do you think?
I think it's, well, there was another.
I feel like we kind of almost need like an in-between.
Well, something happened on TikTok. Those of you who are like way deep into TikTok like me, there was a song that, don't ask your students to translate it. It's in Portuguese. It's super XX rated. And it was a AI slop song, really catchy. And the trend on TikTok was play it for your Portuguese friends, your Brazilian friends. And when you play it for them, they hear like this inappropriate song suddenly, and it's funny to see the reaction. And it's AI. And what I noticed is that it suddenly is now just a song people use on TikTok. Does anyone know the song I'm talking about? I can't even sing it because I'll get arrested. I'm just kidding. I'll get kicked off this webinar. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weird things happening with music. I don't like it because it's gonna, it takes away work from artists, right? I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
It bothers me.
Yeah.
Anyone know what song I'm talking about from TikTok? I don't know if anyone knows.
Maybe somebody can put it in the chat if they find it or find it in a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know it's for, yeah. So Lawrence, you're a musician, and
I
I mean, I
agree.
do wonder, how this is going to change. Like, I create a lot of AI songs, but trust me, I'm not trying to be a top Billboard one. Like, mine are cheesy as all get up
Yeah,
all the time.
it's scary to
To the
me.
point it drives my colleagues a little bit nuts. But I also see the value in using songs sometimes that if you're trying to connect with students, right? Like you're trying to teach a concept and you can
Of
use it
course.
to create kind of fun,
Yeah,
silly
of
jingles type
course.
things. Um,
Of course.
so I did put this link up here. We have an ongoing Padlet. If you guys ever want to share some of your own examples, add those in there in terms of creepy or cool. And so what I want to do, let's see if I can get to the right part of the slides. So as we're continuing on, we're going to jump into more of the critical thinking. But I also want to do a refresh of some of the stuff we covered last month when we talked about critical thinking when it comes to citation and sources and stuff like that. So we're going to do that refresh and then jump into the topic where Sarah Beth is going to kind of talk us through some real world examples. But I'd like to hear in the chat, people are talking about what critical thinking is, but I'm curious as educators, teachers, paraprofessionals, you name it, what your role is when it comes to being in the education space. What do you believe your job is when it comes to teaching critical thinking or encouraging critical thinking? So I'd love to see what some of those thoughts are in the chat. And I love how active our chat is today. So please go ahead and share that. And then I'm going to come back to that in a second, but let me jump ahead to kind of where things were last time. So last month when we talked about research, using the research loop in AI, we talked about, critical thinking and citations is not just one loop, but really kind of, or separate skills, but they really need to be working together. So we talked about, how students could use AI or even teachers use AI to brainstorm, draft, summarize, find possible sources where the AI could be the starting point, but not really the final truth. And then we built from there in terms of what are those critical thinking steps where students, have that time to pause and evaluate, does this make sense? And a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing right now is going to continue to build, what we did from last month. Are the citations real? Like there are a lot of examples in the news right now where even attorneys have been using AI and AI is spitting out case law that is actually didn't exist. So you need to, you need to continue to check what's true, what's not true, and your sources that are true, and like how to check and verify. Don't just, Google something and don't just Google something or go to Wikipedia or put something in ChatGPT. If something seems off, go to another source to verify that it's true. In fact, today when I was working on the news update, there were a couple things and I'm like, oh, that would be great to include. But then I realized as I was doing my own fact checking that some of the stuff was not true. And so I didn't include it in today's AI piece. And so, bottom line, AI can help speed up the work. But really, ultimately, if we don't have students and if we, even as educators, can't do our own critical thinking, we have the risk of just not learning anything. And that is the whole point of really this whole conversation of like, how do we build people to be those critical thinkers, whether they're using AI or they're using a tool or they're using a textbook or something else, right? And so, we also talked about creating some of those class norms for using AI in the classroom, like being transparent, like have your students be real transparent if they used AI to brainstorm topics. Even having some sentence stems that's part of your norms that could say, a form that they have to fill out that says it's kind of like it's almost like an honor code, but saying I used AI to blank and verified it by blank, double checking that your work is accurate. So I'm going to pause there, Sarah Beth, before we go into kind of building off of this from last week, to see if there's anything popping up in the chat box, because I see a lot of
there's some great things. So David Scott works with sixth graders, challenging age, but great age. He didn't say that, I did. My mission is to get his is to get students in 6th grade to think about their thinking. That's critical thinking. I agree that thinking about your thinking and what drives your thoughts and reasoning is critical thinking. Marilyn writes in all caps, and perfect use of all caps, to be stewards of honest use. And listen, I think that no matter where you stand in terms of like your interpretation of politics and stuff, like the lack of critical thinking skills because of the internet right now is more important than ever, I think. Shuri says AI as a tool for critical thinking means to teach students to prompt, to question output, verify info, and enhance learning. Teach lateral reading. Yes. What's his name again? Sam Weinberg. Love that. I always go back to that as well. And lateral reading, that's really interesting. I think a cool webinar one day could be applying lateral reading to the way we use AI and just the internet in general for critical thinking, right? Because in a way, you're doing
that.
The same.
If we should do it.
I would wait. Felicia, you just came up with a whole new idea. Thank you. Yeah, Lillian, if we do not look out, ChatGPT will take our jobs as teachers away from us. And don't get me started with Wikipedia. Lillian, yes. Well, maybe
we use Wikipedia a lot of the example, because remember, I recall when that was coming out, and a lot of teachers were like, "Oh my God, my students, that's all they're doing is going to Wikipedia." It's like there's going to be that, "Oh my God, my students are going to X, Y, and Z to do something." Yeah. I mean, I remember those yellow clip notes that I would try to check out from the library on a book that I just still wasn't fully understanding. Right.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. And so these slides here are still from last month, just talking more citation, but really it gets back to, what you guys are saying in the chat, that, it's not just, producing the work, it's the thinking that's so critical, and trying to understand it. It's like, yes, I could create a really great paper in seconds right now, but do I actually understand what's happening? And that's really where, the teachers come in, and have to be part of it.
Eleanor says, U.S. Senator, independent politician, talks about directions that AI can take. It's chilling, and I feel we need to be keeping those directions in mind. And that's something that I think that, as we head into the midterms, as we head into the presidential election in 2028, I think it's really important that we hold our electeds and people who want to be our elected officials accountable about their views on AI, because I think there's a lot of regulation that needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we need to have tech, not just tech friendly, but not tech friendly, people who actually understand the space in positions of power. And that's why we as educators need to be leaders in that. I agree. Thanks for calling us young.
Thank you. You are now our favorite, Lillian. You can come back anytime.
Oh my God, Lily, I won't even tell you my age. I won't tell you my age. You just made my night.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. No, exactly. Sherry, I'm probably completely mispronouncing it. I don't have my glasses on. Sherelle, I think. Yes, AI requires the human element to function properly, not likely to replace teachers. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree.
There are a lot of things that students can use to help them understand it, but really, could they, come up and do a debate in class and understand the content if they've just done AI? They have to be able to understand that content.
It's funny you mentioned that, because my students were debating recently, and one of them got stumped with a question, and he literally was like asking AI on his laptop as he was standing at the podium, and everyone was just laughing. He was just reading it as it was being generated. So one thing I built into one thing I added into the debate analysis was, evaluating the debate. One of the things the kids were saying was like, this kid did a good job because he didn't use AI to respond to everything. So they were calling each other out. It's crazy.
Oh my God. This is why I love this example so much. So last month we had this Padlet that, asked a number of questions about people's understanding of, critical thinking when it comes to AI. Trying to pull it up, the prompts were, how do your students use AI? What is critical thinking in action? But the one thing that I really pulled out, which is kind of which I've used to help build tonight's session, was this response. How do your students use AI? How are your students already using AI? And somebody says to cheat and cheat poorly. They never even read their answers before submitting the response. So then, if that's the case, they're not even reading it. There's that thinking part is not happening. Yeah, my 13-year-old right now is in the background saying that she does that, so that's not good.
Wait, by the way,
and you listened to this class, by the way?
you made me think of something. A friend of mine, won't disclose who, can I read this to you? Got
Please.
this as an essay. The student didn't even read through the AI response, and so basically this person said, "How do they not know that I can see everything they put in Google Docs, even if they erase it? I mean, I told them I could." This is what he got as a response. He looked at the revise. So if you look at revision history, if they just cut and paste them, you can tell. But he saw this and then it got deleted. So it says in revision history, it says, "Here is a revised version that sounds like a strong high school senior wrote it, stays between 250 and 300 words, and explains how your essay meets the assignment requirements. My essay meets all the requirements of the assignment because it clearly explains," whatever, it goes on and on. So this student cut and pasted, couldn't even cut and paste the appropriate part from ChatGPT, plopped it all into the Word doc, the Google Doc, then deleted that part. But my friend, like all of us, knows how to do revision history and went and looked. And I was actually doing that with some work that they did recently, where I was like calling them out in class. I was like, "All of you did your homework. Let me just go through it." And I was like, "Oh, interesting. Like you wrote this entire thing in 30 seconds. How did you do 5 pages?
Convenient.
In seconds, right?"
Yeah.
So that's
okay. Like, give it to me, and I'm going to quiz you on it.
Talk about critical thinking. Like you have to think critically, even in terms of like how you're cheating. Like, come on.
So I love this, and this was actually because I was going back and forth. In education space, we love our acronyms, right, for things.
Yeah.
And so I was going back and forth on kind of having something that would be a memorable acronym that would also just help us, go through the process of if you're using AI, if your students are using AI, or if you as teachers are using AI, what are some things that you should do? And here's the acronym: READ. And so going back and forth, first, read it first, evaluate the quality, ask for evidence, and then decide, are you going to keep it, fix it, or dump it, or start over? And so what we're going to do is let's go through these 4 letters. And then Sari Beth, we're going to have you go through your, real world example as a teacher as you're preparing.
Okay.
And use this model. So in terms of read it, and I'd love people's feedback on this. Again, for me, it was, again, I was trying to find an acronym that will be memorable for people, but also more importantly than the acronym itself is really what are the steps that we need to make sure that our students are doing. Clearly, we need them to read their work before they submit it, right? So, in terms of like reading it, like seriously, read the whole thing. Ask yourself, does this answer my question? Does it make sense? Does it sound like me? Would my teacher know I didn't write this? If you can't explain it, you don't understand it, don't submit it. So let me pause there. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, what do you guys think of this?
And then I'll keep going and we'll see, because I know there's a little delay sometimes in the chat. And then for E, 3 quick checks. You're evaluating it. Is it complete? What's missing? Are there other perspectives? Is it kind of more of a deeper push or shallow? Are we getting the does it make sense again? And then A, ask for evidence. Can you back this up? Are your facts specific or are they vague? Can you verify claims in other sources? So example, making sure that, your AI model didn't hallucinate and make something completely up that's completely inaccurate, or you're an attorney and you decide to submit a briefing that has fake facts within it. So do you know that you can back up this up? Because AI can make a lot of things sound real, and man, it can make you feel really good about yourself sometimes when it's like, you're so great, you're so smart. Yeah. And then really you might be asking a really dumb question to begin with.
Yeah.
And then finally decide, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep it? Is it good? Are you going to fix it? Are you going to kind of for me, I would say more often than not, I'm kind of in that middle part of fixing it, but I continue to think through a prompt and making it better. And like, okay, I've now gone through that process and I feel like one thing is missing. So what can I do to fix it? Or are you just going to start over, which I also do as well. More often than not. It is really rare that I take something and I'm like, I'm going to keep that first one. The only time I do that is when I create silly songs of Sarah Beth myself. I'm like, I'm just gonna go with it.
He just wants to mess with my head in that situation.
Exactly. And so I think I must have been like channeling you, because I was thinking about the real classroom example, like how this could work out. Like, and maybe this is something that you and I had talked about, I didn't think about, but if the students are going to do the debate, maybe they don't have their computers. Like if they want to use AI to help them prep for a debate, but they're not going to be able to do it. They need to understand it. And that's really more that's kind of where the project-based learning piece comes in, where you're having the students kind of ingest and demonstrate this stuff. Okay, so let's go through. I'm going to turn it over to you, Sarah Beth, to kind of walk us through how this could work.
So I want to share my screen, but it's not. Let me see something. Oh yeah, here. Okay, so let me share with you all. Let's see, can you guys see this? Yeah. So this is the lesson that I did last year. Does everyone see it? It says, to what extent was John Brown a hero or a domestic terrorist? So, and as you can see, the lesson is like on these slides. So the first thing I'm going to do, so I'm just going to go through it. I actually did this using, now that I remember, I used ChatGPT to fix up what I had originally last year. So we have the rules for nuanced Socratic seminar discussion. And then I gave them the themes we're going to explore. So the framing question is this. Okay. So maybe, and then I have these core discussion questions. And then I have follow-up questions. And okay. So one thing I remember from last year, and this is a really good thing to do, is that last year, if I recall, we ran out of time. So sometimes what I do is I don't tell ChatGPT what I have, and I go in and I see what it will do for me. So do you want to do that with me? Let's do that.
Let's do it.
So let's do it. So I'm going to cut and paste this. And then how do I open up a different, I'm going to stop sharing. So now I'm going to go into my ChatGPT. So I'm going to go into share screen, and I'm going to go into.
And so in this example, as she's getting ready to show this, it's like, these skills are also important for us as adults as well. And so Sarah Beth is showing this in a method that she would use to prepare for something for her students. So, and so I think it's important that we're also practicing these critical thinking skills as we're using these models to make sure that we're not going to be those adult attorneys that, are submitting incorrect information.
So as one would guess, as a U.S. history teacher, I know a lot about John Brown. So I'm not using ChatGPT to teach me about it, so I know enough. So I'm going to say, hi, it knows me, but just in case, this is what you should do if it doesn't know you though. I'm an experienced, I'm going to say 24 years A-push teacher, and it already knows this. And as you know, my classes are 44 minutes long.
And the reason she's able to say, as you know, is because a lot of these chats have memories now. And so it's going to be able to pull up, some of the information on you. Yeah.
It might be embarrassing what it says. It'll be like, yeah, I remember. It'll even say like, oh, this is perfect with what you're doing with Dred Scott tomorrow, on John Brown on Thursday. And I'm giving it context. I know this seems crazy, but you'll see why. We have already studied everything leading up to John Brown. I don't use capital letters because I'm quick. John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry. And tomorrow we are doing Dred Scott. Yeah, I'll go fast. And the Lincoln Douglas debates. Yes, if anyone teaches A-push, you'll see you have to go real fast. So like Dred Scott, Lincoln Douglas debates, and then John Brown. Here is the question I am thinking to base. Don't worry, I won't write much more seminar rounds. But notice how much information I'm giving it. Kelly taught me. Okay, let's see what it does.
And
This
actually,
is
as
so
you're
fun.
doing that, Sarah Beth, will you do me a favor? Copy and paste your original prompt, because I may show a new fun trick if we have time at the end.
Okay.
Just
So
text it to me or put it in the chat. Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting it in the chat right now. Okay, so let's see what it says. I missed what it said. Okay, it says, love this.
Okay,
It's
hold on.
classic.
And remember, this is the first step of the read. It is to read it first. Okay, so we are I'm not going to change your slide, but read it first. Like, does it answer your question? Does it make sense? So let's start with that. Let's start with that model. With the first letter read.
So first letter read. It tells me I'm perfect. Don't change. And then I like this. So it doesn't. This is so important, you guys. It often does guard. Yes. Wow. How does it know that? That's scary, you guys. Okay. So to what extent was John Brown a hero or something more complicated? And what does that distinction reveal about the U.S. on the eve of the Civil War? The reframing gets at your continuum thinking rather than binary classification. Okay. I like that because that's reminding me that last year that was one of the issues, and it devolved into, kids just saying that or saying this, or all of them saying it's both. Okay, moving on, right? So if they just end at it's both, moving on, that's not much of a fun discussion. So I like that it's also connecting it to contextualization. And just so you know, the next big debate we're going to have is, was the Civil War inevitable? In fact, I think I'm going to let it know that. What do you think? Right? So it knows where we're heading with this. So it gives me pre-seminar prep. Let's see if there's anything in here that's not accurate, right? So
yeah. So now the next step is, so you're reading through it, but then you're also looking at it from the lens of evaluating. Are you doing those quick checks?
Yeah,
is it complete, or are there some things missing? Is it getting deeper? Because usually, if you don't have a good prompt to start with, it can do a very surface, shallow response and not really get into more of the deepness that you want. Or does it make sense?
So I'm gonna compare and contrast it to what I did last year. So definitions round. Okay, interesting. We did a definition. So what must be present for someone to be a hero? What must be present for someone to be labeled a domestic terrorist? Do these definitions change over time or depend? Yes, I think that right there, that's what we often get into, and that helps us frame it. Then, okay, 18 minutes. I'm a little concerned that that's a lot of time without much structure, but these are the pivots: intent versus method, morality, victims, to targeting civilians versus government change or judgment, contemporary reaction, how did the people interpret it, historical consequence, did he push us closer to emancipation or destruction? That is a very, very good question that honestly I never have heard kids talk about, but I think by being more intentional and getting them there, we'll get into that quicker in the lesson. Okay. So then it gets into big reframing question. Is this interesting for people? I can't tell. I'll go.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, I love it because I love John Brown.
Yeah.
I used to take teachers at Harper's Ferry a lot. It's one of my favorite places.
Yeah, so cool. Is it possible for him to be both a hero and domestic terrorist? What does that reveal? So this is the kind of complexity that I want kids to get at when they're running essays. So yeah, that's a lot of times Socratic seminars and debates are helpful for me to teach kids about complexity before making it too scary with writing sometimes. And then look, moral absolutism versus critical, that's a big theme in this class. Limits of peaceful reform, big theme in U.S. history and world history. Rising legitimacy of violence. Think about connections one can make to today. Okay, and then closing reflections. It gives me two options. After hearing the discussion, where do you now place John Brown on the spectrum and why? Or what modern debates about political violence echoes to, well, I can think of one that I probably couldn't have been talking about a couple months ago. But that's okay. And so what's happened other years that I want to tell it about is that last year some kids said some really inappropriate stuff So this is a tough one in today's day and age, right? For one, these kids are very distant from 9/11, and some of them made really offensive comments about 9/11. And then, of course, the topic of Israel and Gaza, definitely something that have to be very mindful of in a New York City classroom with different points of view, right? So that's going to be okay. I'm not going to actually put it into the ChatGPT because I don't want it to like take me there. You know what I mean? Like even mention it. I didn't think of it. That's great. Closing
so
reflection.
then as part of the as part of this was also it was also ask for evidence, like does it have the right facts, is it specific or vague, can you verify claims in other sources, and then the final part was decide what are you going to do with it.
So I'm gonna say,
and this is where the iteration comes, especially again, this is putting on our adult hat, but sorry, I'm going to tell my daughter you have practice starting in 10 minutes. She's right next to me. So you this is where you can have that iteration to say, okay, a lot of it you got right, some of it you didn't. Sometimes it offers way too much, or maybe you need more stuff in the background. Yes.
So this is interesting. I was just going to ask this and it gave it to me. The assignment ahead of time: define hero, define domestic terrorist, 3 pieces of historical evidence. This is doable. I think that's doable. I'm going to say this is great. I'm going to show everyone what I did last year, and I want to see what you all think about that.
Well, hold on. Before you do this, Sarah Beth, one of my favorite tricks from Christopher Penn is, he's one of our favorite guests on our show. I've learned a lot of AI from him, is to take this and actually ask this question: what's missing? Because then what you're doing is you're having the model reevaluate itself. And oftentimes it will come up with things that you hadn't thought of. And so here it goes. I mean, sometimes it's going to be stuff that makes sense, and other times it's going to be, not things that you need.
I'm missing stuff for them. Norms, framing, needs to be explicit. Violence in pursuit of justice. Is violence ever justified? Okay. Yes. It's missing the AP skills. Very good. Final written component. Yes. Continuum tool. That's really smart. Because I was thinking about that. They don't really have that tool. They haven't thought about that before.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I can build all this. Now here's one thing I'm thinking. This is all helpful. Here is my timing, right?
Yes.
They only will have 40-minute class and homework to prep the night before, not more than 60 minutes of prep. How do you advise I do this in a thorough and meaningful but realistic way, right? Do you see what's happening here? I'm not just saying, cool, thanks, and then putting it on a Google Doc and calling it a night. See what it's saying? No drift. So here we go. See, now it's thinking. Night before, prep. Read 3 short primary sources, 15 minutes wrap. Define things, 3 minutes. See, it's even scaffolding how long it should take them. 2 pieces of evidence, classifying, 1 sentence initial claim, 35. See, look, under your 60-minute total. So it even, it kind of like scaffolded it for kids, at the lower end and the higher end. In class, 40 minutes. Opening framing question, definitions, huge, and then it, okay. And look, it's building in the historical thinking skill of perspective.
I love it.
That's good, right? What do y'all think?
Yes. Share what you think. And I think you wanted to show one other thing, and then I want to
can I show
one thing as well. once you're done with that.
I'll be real quick. I just want to show you all that how I did it last year. And I'm curious in the chat to tell me what you think. If you think I should stick with my original, or do you think that I should really change it? Because that's another thing too. Like I've been teaching
I like
so long.
David, I feel like is giving I love your response, David. And I feel like there's a little bit of snark there, but I appreciate it. Outstanding. You have moved from higher order thinking to deconstructivism in this PD.
That made it sound really smart.
I get jokes.
Yeah, I got it. So basically, like, this was the original lesson. So, okay, so I had them do that, but I didn't do the continuum thing. I definitely want to include the continuum part. The core discussion were these questions. They are a little vague, and they did lead to some chaos. So I am going to rein it in a bit. Then probing questions bring in perspective. But I think that the other one is better. I like the closing round. How is this to change or reinforce your view? I think that if you go back to, where is it? If you go back to this one, I think the closing is the continuum piece. I think makes it much more complex. In an A push, they need to be thinking about the two different, the duality of things all the time. It's in most way, if you were, perspective and that kind of stuff. So I do believe, and I'll close this out now, that I'm going to change my lesson around a bit. Do you guys agree with me? What are your thoughts?
I think that's great. I mean, one of the things you could do as well. So you had your prompt in your chat. You could also download your presentation from last year and upload it to the same chat and give it some feedback to say, this is what I did last year. Here's what worked. And here's what didn't work. A push is American AP US History. Yeah, she always says A push, and I'm so used to it now. But AP US History.
College board class. Yeah, so it's a college level class.
High school.
Sorry, everyone. Yeah. Well.
But yeah, so if it's their slides that you own, you can always
how do you do that?
download those.
How do you download them and upload them into chat? I never know how to do that.
Ooh, let's do that right now.
Okay, so
I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, because does that involve cutting and pasting everything, or can you put them in the chat?
You can. Okay, so hold on. Let me make sure that people can see my screen first.
I can never read mine for some reason. I don't know why.
Are you seeing?
Kelly returns.
Are you seeing? Okay, awesome. Okay, so if I wanted to. So you are in ChatGPT. Any one of these will allow you to upload the resource. So what I typically do is download it, but you can also connect it to your Google Drive. So if you have a file in your Google Drive, you just use this plus, and so you can upload any of these pieces here.
Wait, did you guys know that? It doesn't let me in mine.
I do that a lot, where I'll download
Kelly,
some stuff.
It doesn't let me connect to Google Drive.
So if that's in your school division, it may be a security setting. So if you can just download it as like a PDF.
It's my personal ChatGPT.
Okay. I might have to help you offline on that one.
Yeah, that's weird.
But what you're doing is downloading the actual presentation from your Google Drive and then uploading it to ChatGPT. You're not downloading necessarily from ChatGPT.
And I am using a paid version. That's so strange. I wonder what.
Yeah. So one other thing that Christopher Penn has really turned me on to, that has helped me, I feel like, on some deeper research that I've had to do, on some other topics, was to ask a question like this. So I'm just going to do a really general. I want to do a Socratic seminar on John Brown. And then the next question that you can copy and paste and use is ask me one question at a time until you have enough information to successfully complete the task.
I like that.
And so I want to create I want to create instruction. Maybe I'll just say, I'll just see what comes with this. And so what this does is it actually helps you, it helps you work with the models. And this works for any tool. Right now I'm using Claude. You can use any of them, but it's in, rather than putting so much in that very beginning piece, it's having you really think through the pieces that you want to do. Within it. And so it helped. And also these models kind of work on a system of probability. Like they are trying to get, they're those eager beavers that want to give you the best answer as fast as possible. Like, of course I can do this, blah, 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 blah. This will slow it down and will also help you put the inputs in that you might want to need. So here's the question. What's the purpose of the Socratic seminar? Who's the intended audience? For example, you're preparing for students. So we'll say a high school AP US history.
That's good.
Some ambulances in New York tonight. I hear it. And then, so I won't go through all of this, but what this does, it's like, it will help you really think through some of the stuff. And so, what specific aspects of John Brown would you like the seminar to focus on? So for example, his R.E.A.D on Harper's Ferry, his broad activism, moral ethical questions.
Right.
And so let's just say, we'll just say his broad just for example, his broader activism and tactics. And I know we're hit just about at time, so we'll wrap up in just a second.
And there's a good question up here.
Oh, go ahead. You ask the question.
Yeah. So Margaret, there's a bunch of great comments, but Margaret says you can add a token file in the free version, but I checked, you can't go back and forth hardly at all. Any tips for teachers who only have access to free versus paid? It would take me days to get the John Brown lesson. Yeah, I pay. So yeah, what advice do you have for Margaret on that? Because if you're not paying, it's difficult to get.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. What I would try to look at is Hugging Face, and I will find the link for it as well, because it allows you to tap into a lot of models on one website, and you can get into some of the free ones. And there's a lot of stuff that you'll actually be able to do even in the free, more so than any of these specific ones. And one of the things that we've found, like even over the last year and a half, so many of the items are adding more and more free access to. But you're right. If you're going on for hours on end, you're gonna hit your limit as well.
Grok is interesting for sure.
I haven't tried Grok, believe it or not. I try everything.
I try not to be on Twitter that much, but Mia said, I think you could even use this scaffolded lesson planning exercise as a way to demonstrate to your students what you will be expecting from them, including sequencing, scaffolding, and executive planning. That is very cool. This exercise could then be assigned to them as a future project, having them collaborate to design a future lesson, which would require them to use the knowledge they've gained to check for the accuracy in the lesson planning. Brilliant. Bravo. Brilliant. Oh yeah, we're at time. So Lawrence is jumping off. We really appreciate you. Enjoy your union meeting. This is fun. I hope this is fun for everyone else. Like, I know it seemed like we were going down a rabbit hole with my lesson, but I just wanted to kind of model for people like the ways I use it. I mean, I get kind of mental with it. Like I use it to plan out. For me, it's kind of like I've been doing this for so long that I always want to freshen up my lessons. So I even share lessons that I think are awesome and then get feedback from AI and then mix it up a bit. So I find it really helpful at whatever level you're at in teaching.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. And especially, especially if you've been teaching for a while and you're like, you know what, I just want a little bit more of a fresh idea. Let me just kind of have that thought partner to go back and forth. Like, even if you're a teacher working with elementary or middle and you don't want them going anywhere near AI, which I totally get, if it helps you think through some stuff and make some improvements or change a few things, then, by all means do it. Take advantage of it.
Yeah. It's a great, I see it as a thought partner.
100%. 100%. Okay. So I know we're at time. I just want to say thank you guys to everybody for joining us today. I love having a very active audience. And then right now that Claude, by the way, Sarah Beth, is still submitting a comprehensive lesson plan on John Brown. So what I will do is send it to you when it's done, and then I'll add it to Share My Lesson, which is so if other people want to see what the output was, it's still generating. But that's the nice thing about that example what I was showing of like, have it ask you those one questions at a time, because it's going to force you really to have to, think through, some of those responses to have a better output. And then again, that other question I said of like, what is missing, I have found to be so helpful.
That's so good. I do that all the time. I ask, I forgot to do it this time. No. I do it all the time, except for this time when you reminded me, but that's super important.
Yeah.
Oh, and one last thing, you guys, one last thing can I say? I know we're leaving, but really quickly, I'm just so excited about this. Every time I finish a debate, I give kids a Google form to fill out to evaluate it. And then I put it through AI to then summarize the results. And then I make slides so they can see the feedback. Because it takes forever. So great. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do with this. I'll share it with you guys next time. After
I love it.
Wish me luck on it. Wish me luck.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
If you guys all could go to Share My Lesson, rate and review. I've added the slides that we have up right now that are there, and then I'll add whatever the output is on the John Brown thing that's running for Sarah Beth. And then this is we will be back with you in January 2026, and we're going to be tackling wellness and if AI can have a place in helping educator burnout. And wellness rather than stress. So I'm excited for that one. So I know that you guys are at the final stretch. You're almost done, and then you get a break. So hang in there. Stay strong.
Congratulations, everyone. We got this. It's freezing here in New York, so that's the attitude. But anyway, thanks, everyone.
All right, bye, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.